What's up, guys? Ollie from College Center, Chicago. I'm here to talk about this beautiful, beautiful system. But before I do that, make sure to like and subscribe to this channel. There's going to be a lot of great things I'm going to be throwing up here. There's a lot of videos I'm going to be pumping out. And the only reason why I want to do that is because I love this system. I love applying this system. It's made a big difference in my life. So today is really a focus on footwork. A lot of people say stuff like, yeah, footwork is this, yeah, footwork is that. Honestly, it's probably the biggest pain in the ass of the entire system, but it makes you have a great ass. Not just that, but you become a pain in the ass to everybody else that you train with, any opponent. And at the same time, because you've logged in so much work on the footwork, it really is all these miles that you've put on of experience, and that makes you a badass. So what I'm going to specifically be talking about is what some Filipino martial artists call the female triangle. I like to call it the reverse triangle. All right, the reverse triangle, if we actually map this whole thing out, in front of you, some people call this the female triangle. God knows why. They call this the forward triangle. But when you put that together, don't get any dirty thoughts. You get the diamond. So here's the forward part of the diamond, here's the reverse part of the diamond. So we're going to call this the reverse triangle, because if you do this and you add the other part, then typically you're stepping off on a reverse type of triangle. Now the reason why I'm going to talk and focus about this is because I've trained a lot as I was a kid. My parents obviously immigrated from the Philippines, and in the Philippines, especially my dad is a very poor farmer in the barrio, but when they came here to the United States, it's not like America, where your kids are lining up soccer camp, baseball camp, football camp, hockey, tennis, gymnastics. You got everything here. That's what makes America unique, is the fact that a lot of kids get this physical training, which is fantastic. And hopefully in the Philippines, it's really starting to develop more, because it's a very integral part to battling this problem with obesity in the United States and worldwide. But it also starts to develop like immensely. So my parents literally came from a different country, but my dad was intuitive enough to sign me up to a lot of sports. One of them was ice skating when I was a child. So I was in like hockey, I was in a hockey club, all-stars. So, you know, I was raised as kind of an athletic kid, an American Filipino, Filipino descent, raised the American way in sports. So to me, it was always, when I was in these sports, it was always about footwork. So that was a pain in the ass. I'm not a very tall guy. I'm 6'2". No, I'm not really 6'2". I'm 5'8", but I'm not very tall, so I had to beat a lot of people with footwork. A lot of these sports focused on footwork, because your footwork was what dominated other players and other teams. So when I look at Filipino martial arts, I'm thinking, where's the footwork? The footwork is the essential. Like, if you don't have footwork and you're running around with one of these, you're gonna run. Eventually, this weapon's either gonna run into you, or you're gonna cut your own limb off, or you're gonna stab yourself, or you're gonna run into this own weapon because you don't have the proper coordination between your footwork and the weaponry. So I'm gonna focus on this portion of the footwork, because I see a lot of weird stuff out there on the internet. And remember, qualify your teachers, because if they call themselves gurus, teachers, it's like going to school and a teacher's telling you about health, but they've got, like they're kind of obese and stuff like that, or a doctor who's telling you to stop smoking, but they're smoking, and like vice versa. Qualify your teacher, qualify your healthcare professional. If you're in better shape than they are, and they're telling you how to like improve this and that with your fitness, that makes healthcare professional. It's like an NBA professional. I'm going to tell Michael Jordan what to do in the NBA. I'm not an NBA professional, but be professional about it. Qualify your teachers. If they don't qualify to meet the needs of what you're looking for, you need to fire them or look elsewhere. So when I'm talking about this, I am talking about what people call the female triangle, but we're just going to call it the reverse triangle. And the reason why I have these cones here is because I love cones. I like kicking cones over. They're like falling heads on the ground. And I'm gonna essentially put this in a reverse triangle on the ground. Now I have them lined up with these cones. And the reason why I have these cones here is so that you can literally see my displacement. And in physics, displacement is literally that change in distance from, let's say, this point of origin. So if I'm in that point of origin here, this is my starting point, the problem is I see a lot of Filipino martial artists do this. They're like, oh yeah, we're gonna be doing the reverse footwork or the female triangle, and we're gonna make sure that we're stepping across and we're completing this female triangle, and I'm gonna be standing like this, squared off, and you can change directions. The problem is when I see this, and this is a trainer, just because I don't want your mom or dad to be upset with me. If you look at the center line, you don't want to be in line with this weapon towards you. You don't want that to intersect the points. You also don't want it to even touch, because this is your center line. You don't want any part of your body to occupy this space, because if you occupy this space, it doesn't matter if it's a firearm, it doesn't matter if it's a sword, spear, whatever, ham hock, you're gonna get nailed. That's what she said. So you want to make sure that you're stepping off those lines. So I don't know why people are doing that, but as a athlete when I was growing up as a kid, I look at it as like, okay, well, where's the footwork? Like, it doesn't look like my daughter's in tennis academy, and you should see their footwork. You put a live bolo in their hand, if they know how to use the bolo, you're in trouble because they're hitting a tennis ball this big. They can lob your freaking hand off and measure at a good distance. So if you look at this, you don't want to stay here. Like, you don't want to be average when it comes to footwork. This to me is like, okay, this is good enough. You know, when schools say stuff like it's okay to be good enough, and I'm like, dude, if you're the teacher, if I'm the teacher, I don't want my students to just be good enough. If I'm raising a kid, I don't want my kid to just be good enough. If I have students in college, I don't want my college students to just be good enough. This is a system. Like, you have to, in order to understand the system, you have to freaking do the work. And when you do this is like version -1.0 Ollie. Okay, this is acceptable. This is a great class. This is acceptable. When is this class over? And yeah, you shouldn't be there. I want to be the Ollie that moves across the lines properly. Look at the distance. Look at how much I've displaced from the point of origin. I'm moving. Doesn't matter if it's clockwise or counterclockwise. I'm moving. Not average. I'm being athletic in this, bending my knees, pumping my leg, pulling into place. I'm not dragging my feet like this. I'm not lagging my back foot. Don't be that third wheel in the relationship or that anchor in that relationship, in that marriage. Don't be the one that anchors that, keep that down like this. Like, what the heck is that? You want to be whatever. You want to be hey, I want to be the version 2.0, the 3.0 version of Ollie. So what do I have to do? Now I've got to extend those lines, and then you can take these sticks out of the way, step on those lines, boom, and then just apply that footwork. Boom, step across, pull. Step across, pull. Change directions, go the other direction. Step across, pull into place. Don't be that anchor in the relationship. Don't be the one that does not finish your food. Finish your rice, Ali, every day. Finish the rice, okay? And when you do that, you're gonna notice your heart rate starts to go up because it takes energy. But the more you do that, the better you're gonna get, and the better you get, the more precise and accurate your movements are going to be. And then it starts affecting everything outside this boundary. You become your own universe, and that energy, it starts to blend and become part of the environment yourself. If it's at work, it's gonna affect you at work. And vice versa. If you're coming in from work and you're coming into training and your footwork's like this, and typically it's not like that, I know something's on your mind. Might pull you aside and say, hey dude, are you okay? Yeah, my dad's been sick. Today wasn't a very good day for him, but I just kind of wanted to get my training in and be like, all right, so what do you want to do? Want to be able to move around? I was like, I'm sorry that's going on, but let's try to focus on this now. Afterwards, let's talk. But let's move. Let's move together. And then I'll stand next to you and be like, dude, yeah, let's go, let's move it, that's it. Chicago style, give away those bullets. Oh, there's a bullet there. Check it out. Oh man. But you want to be more dynamic, we have fun. Like, the system is so fun. When you realize how complicated it is, but how beautiful it is, because you start moving around according to the system that you're learning, you start seeing things you never saw before. And it does affect, like, it's made such a huge impact in my life. That's why I'm dedicating myself to teaching these classes. It's a great sacrifice to learn all of this, but I appreciate it so much. It's like, I want to share the design with everybody so it improves them in their own success. Whatever your own success is, let's do this together. But it all starts with something as basic as reverse triangle and doing it right. Because once you do that, there's still a forward triangle, there's still all this other footwork, and we haven't even applied the training blade, we haven't even applied the training rattan, a live sword. What other system can you do outside of this where you're training with stuff that's been around for centuries, all the way up to even the books of Alexander the Great, Musashi, the book of Musashi, 5 Rings. I've read that book multiple times. It gets better and better because it's all about the sword. If you've never trained with a sword, a real sword before, don't pick up a live sword right away until you have the proper professional training. But once you get to that level, that skill level, and you read a book like the book of 5 Rings, you start to actually see things that you didn't see before. So if somebody's it's better for someone who's actually handled a live sword, because it's true, a swordsman is a strategist, because you start to see the way of the sword. You understand it more than never picking up a sword or training with a sword ever in your whole life. But in our classes, you're going to start off with this. It's all about safety and understanding this, because you can start off making mistakes with this. You can't make a mistake with a Prado blade like this. You can't make mistakes with this. There's no margin for error. And it all starts with footwork. So hopefully you enjoyed this and you were severely, severely not entertained. Honestly, I'm just here to entertain myself. So you can go yourself. But if you have any questions, leave a comment below. Contact me. Check out one of our free classes. Again, like and subscribe to this channel for some more entertaining videos purely for myself. I'll talk to you guys a little bit later.